Alexandra, and today we are going to talk about vocal classifications. If you sing opera, musical theater, or are in a chorus, knowing your voice type can be helpful. Today we are going to talk about two types of vocal classifications, one reserved for opera, the other reserved for choruses. For opera, we follow the system called the Fach system of vocal classifications. This is something developed in Germany and is used in opera houses all over the world. The Fach system of vocal classifications is more specific than voice type because it encompasses not only range of the voice, but color, vocal flexibility, and weight of the voice. Although the Fach system is used widely in opera, it is also useful for singers of musical theater, as it helps them decide what to sing and how to market themselves. So let's start from the literal top with soprano. Soprano is generally described as being arranged between C4 and C6. At least that's what you'll see on a lot of charts. However, this varies. And with the Fach system, there are actually three further subdivisions of the category soprano. The highest being coloratura, and it's not only range that puts people into the coloratura category. The coloratura soprano voice is known for its agility. Probably the most famous examples of an aria for the coloratura is the famous Queen of the Night aria with the high F7 in Mozart's Magic Flute. The next vocal category is lyric soprano. This is the standard version of a soprano, what we think of singing the lead roles in most operas and a lot of musical theater shows as well. Their range extends from probably a G3 to a C6 or maybe higher. Some can even reach E7. The voice differs not so much in range, but more in the timbre. So a lyric soprano can differ from a coloratura because the voice sounds a bit fuller.
Until then I shall wait, until then I'll be strong.
The third category, dramatic soprano, is one that you would commonly see in Wagner operas. These are the heavyweights of the soprano world. Although the range is probably the same as a lyric soprano, it differs in the overall quality of the voice. Dramatic soprano voices are dark, heavy. They do not have the agility of the coloratura. And because of the sheer size of the orchestras for the operas that they sing in, dramatic sopranos are incredibly loud. All sopranos in the soprano category are similar in one aspect. They all have a bright quality to their voices, and the range is generally brighter and bigger at the top. The mezzo-soprano vocal range can be between A3 and A5.
I hate California, it's crowded and damn.
At least that's according to a lot of charts. In reality, the range is probably the same as a soprano range. The main difference is in color of the voice and where it's richest. Even though a mezzo can sing a C6, the same as a soprano, her richest notes are in the middle range. In German opera houses, even this category can be subdivided further to accommodate roles like Carmen versus Cherubino, for which different qualities are required. The lowest category for females in the Fach system is contralto, and this category is kind of rare. The range is generally described between F3 and F5. However, this can vary. The distinction between contralto and the other categories for females is that the contralto has a rich chest voice. And most women do not because our chests are smaller and we primarily sing in our head voices. Not only can they sing these low notes, but they can sound robust doing this, almost like tenors in this range. A famous operatic example of a contralto is Marian Anderson. However, contraltos abound in blues music, in a lot of contemporary music as well. In fact, the queen of salsa, Celia Cruz, was a contralto.
Todo aquel que piense que la vida es desigual, tiene que saber que no es así, que la vida es una hermosura.
On to the men. Before you say tenor, in the Fox system of vocal classifications, the highest male voice is countertenor. What the fuck is this, you might ask? A countertenor is a man that sings primarily in his falsetto. The range is typically that of a mezzo-soprano or a lyric soprano. However, a countertenor is distinct in that the falsetto is actually very well developed and is as loud as something that a woman might produce with her head voice. A famous example of a countertenor in popular music is Vitus. Tenor is probably the most famous and beloved voice type. According to the chart, the tenor range is C3 to C5. Tenors generally play the leading men to the leading ladies in a lot of operas. What excites everyone most about this voice is the top of it. Famous examples of tenors are, of course, Pavarotti, Placido Domingo, Caruso, but the list extends to singers of more popular music like Andrea Bocelli or rock and roll like Freddie Mercury. Aria that makes most people think tenor right away, particularly because it's been sung in a lot of singing shows recently, is Nessun Dorma.
Mare mio mistero è chiuso in me, il nome mio nessuno saprà,
The category under tenor is the baritone. Baritones have a range of G2 to G5, but it's also not completely accurate as a lot of baritones can sing higher or lower than this. And what defines them as baritones is the quality of their voices, being richer and deeper, again in the middle range, similar to female mezzo-sopranos. Bass range E2 to E4. But again, a lot of basses can have a range that can go higher or lower. What defines this voice type is the richness of the lowest notes. Let's move on to choruses. So while opera singers and musical theater singers are generally categorized as soprano, mezzo-soprano, contralto, countertenor, tenor, baritone, and bass, there aren't as many categories for chorus. The highest category for choristers is soprano. The range is C4 to C6, and it generally stays that way. The second highest category for the female voice in chorus is alto. The range is described as similar to contraltos. For men in choruses, there are only two categories as well, tenor and bass. So these are general guidelines on how to classify your voice. If you want to try and categorize yourself, there's a way you can do this, and it will require a piano. Start in the middle of your range to determine where your voice tops off and bottoms out. Do this on a scale in any value you feel comfortable in. Where you start to work a lot harder is probably where your voice ends. Going down, you would do the same thing. And again, stop when you bottom out. So between those notes is your vocal range. It can be similar to the chart, or it can vary. Where in that range did you feel the most comfortable? Was it higher, middle, or lower? Another helpful hint for women is knowing where the voice breaks. What I mean by that is women sing primarily in the mix for their middle voice. Where this break happens can determine whether you're a mezzo or a soprano. The break for mezzo-soprano generally occurs between a C5 and an E5. For soprano, it's higher. It's anywhere higher than that. So probably between an E5 and an F5. Of course, the right voice teacher will guide you into discovering what your vocal category is. If you're interested, I offer voice lessons, and you can contact me at alexandravargas.com. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Alexandra, and this has been Singing with Alexandra.